All right, thank you, Jeff. The homicide unit and crime scene investigators are called to Fountain Square on an evening when families are gathering for fun. Tonight, we learn it was a 16-year-old boy who was shot by a police officer. Cincinnati police found a gun on the teen during a crowded event on Fountain Square. Police Chief James Craig says the subject pointed the gun at the officer and the officer fired back. Just an hour ago, police wrapped up a news conference. Tiffany Wilson joins us with the latest. Tiffany.
Well, both the mayor and the police chief began the press conference by saying that it has been a very tough week here in Cincinnati. It started off with an officer who was involved in that car accident, and he is still in critical condition. Then on Friday, there was the shooting at Findlay Market where a man opened fire on a police officer. The officer returned fire. That suspect is in critical condition. And then yesterday, with the police officer involved shooting that left 16-year-old Devon Millens dead. Now, police say it all started at the Black family reunion where some individuals were throwing guns over the wall into the event. An off-duty police officer called that in, and so then a uniformed officer started following the group. They were between 16 and 22 years old who supposedly had picked up those guns, and those individuals were walking from the event at the Black family reunion up towards Fountain Square. At 38 Fountain Square Place, that is where Officer Oscar Ciernik met up with Devon Millens. He said that he was acting suspicious, holding his pants. It looked like he could have a weapon on him. They began to struggle for a minute and 53 seconds. You could see on surveillance cameras. They fought back and forth. The officer tried to handcuff him. He could not. And then the officer said that the suspect had his hand on the gun with his finger on the trigger. At that point, Officer Ciernik fired 2 shots. The suspect dropped his gun, actually threw it to the side, and then the officer was able to pick up the gun, called for backup, called for the ambulance. Mullins was pronounced dead at University Hospital. And the police chief says, although this has been a very difficult week, people should not be afraid to go down.
The city will still be safe. This was an anomaly. I mean, even though I'm new here, I don't think that there have been many incidents like this in the recent past. So the city will be safe.
And the police chief says that he plans on working with faith outreach groups and really trying to determine why there has been this spike of violence and get the guns out of the hands of the youth, because he really says that that is a strong problem. And just to point out that Devon Mullins did have several priors, the police did mention that. So, Paula, we will have much more at 11 o'clock. Right now, I'm sending it back to you.
I've had so much to deal with. All right, thank you, Tiffany. A man dies after being